We are ready to begin the moot. We were only waiting for your return, once and future king. You were strong enough to walk the king's thread, and you conquered it. What is your will, my king? What decision have you made regarding the giants? I understand your decision, though I struggle to accept it. We had the chance to end the war once and for all, and instead we are left with a fragile peace. I only hope that the threat of the weirdness is real enough that Camelot will turn its strength toward protecting the people, and not, once again, to march on our lands. Thank you, my king, for your intervention. I, the voice of the Dalrida tribes, accept your decision with humility and gratitude.
The king sent the power of the giants back to the afterlife. I won't lie, I would have liked to see them in action. Well, if we do decide to go to war, we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way, with the strength of our own arms. Though I doubt our tribes will march on Camelot without the giants' support. There are simply too few of us to mount a proper siege. Maybe it's for the best that the giants are gone. Fewer idols left to worship. We need to focus on uniting the Dalrida now. There will be time enough for fighting later. If the giants had marched on Camelot, it would have been a sight worth seeing. With or without the giants, the Dalrida will stand united. More so than we have in a long time. If the giants had marched...
So the giants have returned to their sleep. They have gone to the place where they shall meet the mother, and my tribe. It is a wise decision. No one should hold such power. Had I stood in your place, I might have chosen the same. And we, the Dalrida, shall endure without their strength. Of that, I have no doubt. It is good that the king did not command an attack on Camelot. Too much blood would have been spilled. It is good.
We could have defeated Camelot once and for all. And now, that chance is gone. I should have known this was the decision the king would make. After all, why would he support our tribes? We should at least be thankful he did not side with Camelot. That would have been the end of Dalrida. Camelot might have fallen if we had received the giant support. As it stands, we'll have to fend for ourselves. If I were King Arthur, I'd have stood by my own. No question. I always wanted to see Camelot. Truth is, I wanted to take it. Maybe my descendants will succeed, where I did not. Maybe it's for the best that we stand alone. Now we have a chance to rebuild as one Dalrida. No longer divided by the old gods we once followed. I always wanted to see Camelot.
Thank you for everything you have done for us. We have a chance for a new beginning. I believe peace will come to the forlorn swords now. I was never one to call for war. I believe... Thank you for everything.
I know not everyone will be pleased about losing the giants, but I believe it was the best decision we could have made. The Dalriata spent too long cowering like children before their greatness, and I had grown weary of giants sitting on the throne. Now we can finally be free. The Dalriata lived too long in the giant's shadow. At last, we have the chance to rule ourselves. Now the Dalriata will either return to Mather's care or finally learn to take responsibility for their own lives without leaning on higher powers. After what Thrigvi put us through, I could never trust the giants again. It's better they're gone. I wonder how the forlorn swords will change now that the threat of the giants has passed. The Dalriata lived too
After everything I did for you, you won't even let me rest in peace. I'm not talking to you, you mongrel. I'm speaking to the one hiding inside you, like a coward.
Let me speak to him, young one. Galahad, my friend, we come to you in our hour of need.
It wasn't enough to tamper with immortality on your own. You had to drag us into it too. Do you know, it was only after I died that I understood what you'd done. Becoming a Four-Dweller, Arthur. Really?
I've always valued your counsel, Galahad. But we were losing the war, and you were no longer at my side. I had no choice but to try becoming as powerful as they were.
Nonsense. There's always a choice, and you have made the worst one. How could you fraternize with the enemy? Go against everything we fought for? You're right. I wasn't there. If I had been, I'd have beaten you to death with my bare fists before letting you follow the advice of that old charlatan.
It was my choice, not Merlin's.
Keep telling yourself that. I know the truth. I always knew the old man was a manipulator. And you had too much on your shoulders to see what he was really doing.
I respect your opinion, Galahad. I only regret that we meet under these circumstances.
As do I. So, what now? You're taking my remains for a little trip. And I'm supposed to serve you again. Not that you're giving me a choice. If you take me from this place, my essence will be bound to your will. I never really had a choice, did I? The war, your transformation. It would have happened with or without me.
Probably, yes. But now, at least we can see it through to the end.
Do what you want. It's not like I have a choice. This will be the last time you hear me fully aware.
Then, is there anything you want to say to me, Galahad?
Just one thing. May the weirdness take you, traitor.
Such proud men, Galahads. I wonder what it is about that name that makes it heavier to bear than most. They're always more driven, but more volatile too. I've heard some things about Sir Galahad the Pure. Things I'd rather never hear again. You've met Sir Galahad the Pure? It fascinates me how he both is and isn't the ideal successor to the first Galahad. They share the same drive, the same sharp edge of cruelty. But for the first Galahad, that cruelty was a means to an end, not the end itself. Or so I've heard. On the contrary, everything is always changing. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. Though, maybe that's just me finally getting properly old. But you're right about one thing. Violence, and those who thrive on it, never seem to change. The worst kind of constant in a sea of chaos. The road is long, but the next tomb awaits.
Galahad. I should have known he wouldn't be too happy about being brought back. But I hoped he'd died in peace, and would return in peace. I was wrong. War isn't a time when you can afford likes and dislikes. Galahad was a great warrior. He made decisions no other commander dared to. But would he have been a good leader in times of peace? I doubt it. That's why news of his death in battle came as a relief to me. Men like him, once they gain momentum, are nearly impossible to stop. In that regard, he and Galahad the Pure were quite alike. He led a dangerous expedition, one of the most important of the Age of Conquest. Had it succeeded, the war might have ended much sooner, but it didn't. And so the fighting went on. After the war, I had his remains recovered and this tomb built. Over time, he came to be seen as a noble martyr. But who he really was, well, you've seen that for yourself. I regret the fate he met. Let's make sure his sacrifice wasn't in vain.
is you. I wasn't expecting such a grandiose visit, my king, and I see that you were brought here by some lad. That's kind of you, stranger. But you'll have to pardon the mess. These halls ain't fit to welcome a king, nor the one who bears him within. Ah, right. Sometimes I forget that not everything's as clear as it once was. Truth be told, I tend to lose sight of a few important things myself. But to the point, my name is Gavonin. I'm a craftsman, a blacksmith, and the keeper of this place. The pleasure is mine, kind lad. And your grace, of course. This tomb opens only for two kinds of brave souls. Knights who were never granted a seat at the round table, and the king himself. I've been sitting here long enough to know what kind of knight visits the tomb. And your visit is unlike any other. This, kind lad, is the tomb of the knight who never came. There was once a grim legend that claimed this tomb was built out of fear. Fear of an ancient curse Morgana cast upon Arthur. She foretold that all the great knights who were denied the king's favor and honors would rise at the end of days as an army of the dead. They would march on Camelot, seize the capital, shatter the round table to dust, defile the royal relics, and from the ruins, forge a kingdom of their own. But those are just stories from the old days. No, I would cease to be. I'm bound here by an oath I made to his grace. The one who now dwells within you, but is perfectly fine. It is my home, and so it shall remain for all time. Aye, fewer nights these days, and even less knighthood to speak of. No wonder that so few of them come. Such are the times we live in. Anyone who finds their way here usually comes seeking eternal rest, and rest like that calls for a proper gravestone. I carve each one with my own chisel. They also bring battle-scarred equipment. My hammer mends what needs mending, so it will serve them well in the land of the dead. And the dead? Well, they need a keeper. Someone to watch over them when unrest stirs. Believe me, those who chase glory in life don't always lie in peace. If we do not speak of them, then we won't stir their slumber. The dead prefer silence. Best not to call their names. Really kind of you, lad, but no. Or, well, maybe there is something. You see, I once made a habit of carving gravestones in advance, so that any knight arriving here could choose the one beneath which they'd rest for eternity. Unfortunately, I've misplaced my chisel. It slipped and fell all the way into the depths. Clang, clang, clang. If you could find it, I would be most grateful. Hope you find something worth your time. Glad to see you alive. Step carefully.
kept us waiting. Your tomb's gathered quite a lot of cobwebs and spiders. Best tidy up a little before you settle in for eternity. Ah, of course. Of all the forgotten knights who never came, you stand closest to the king. When you finally join us, you'll tell us what it was like to hear his voice, to share so many battles by his side. I won't deny my envy, but in death, you'll be our equal. And then we'll speak as comrades. I've met many who said the same, loudly and proudly, like it meant something. Their bones now line forgotten crypts, still clutching that same bold promise. Sooner or later, you'll find yourself on my side of existence. So yeah, no bold promises, unless they carry some potential to be fulfilled. I've been resting in a tomb for the past 3 centuries, so not much, really. I've been resting in a tomb for the past 3 centuries, so not much, really. Unless, of course, you're pointing out that I'm not in my own grave. In which case, fair enough. But what can I say? I do enjoy the occasional posthumous strolls. I came to this tomb of my own accord, as did many of us. I knew our time was drawing to a close. The gates opened, and so I entered. I had a few words with Govanon and then headed to the crypt prepared for me. With my own gravestone on my back, I treated it as my penance. Sometimes, when men want something badly enough, they're capable of truly awful things. I killed 5 knights. Each one stood higher than me in the race for a seat at the round table. 4 I cut down during a tournament. The last I drowned in a river. He was drunk as a skunk, didn't even comprehend what was happening. Quite the burden to repent for, wouldn't you say? Fine, lad. If someone's to watch over my corpse, I'm glad it's him. I imagine long ago he had more to do. It's been a while since anyone new passed through. I see. You pity the wretch who never reached his dreams. How noble of you, truly. But I propose something fairer. Let's test it. Your cause, my worth. If I lose with dignity, I am all yours. If you still consider me a good candidate for service, but if you fall, then you'll lie in the tomb that's been waiting for you since before you drew your first breath. So, what do you say? Splendid. Let's begin. Lost. Oh, how I missed that rush. As I promised, I'll serve the 2 of you. Here is my oath. I shall be ready to fight at your side whenever you should call upon me. Thank you.
Your Grace and the companion of the king. What do you need? Ah, Savas still lingers then. I'm not surprised. Some knights wear death like a cloak, and even the grave forgets to close behind them. As for the empty grave, every soul that walks this tomb finds their name carved somewhere. It doesn't mean the end is near. Only that the place remembers who you are, even if you forget. When the body finally rests in the grave, the epitaph completes itself. You did? I was starting to fear that one day I'd have to descend to the lower levels myself. I try not to go that deep. Makes me drowsy. Sometimes I feel like lying down in one of the empty tombs myself. Ha! Thank you. It is a great honor to receive aid from the king and his companion. Here, take this. I hope you both will find it useful. Hope you find something worth...
And so, it is done. Now everything rests in your hands. Their souls, and the fate of Avalon. There is. But before I explain, understand this. I haven't lied to you. What we've done has helped. Those tormented souls and Avalon itself. But it's not the whole story. Arthur and his king still need to be released into the Wordness. I can make that happen. Not yet, but it's a choice you'll have to face when the time comes. Nothing. Avalon will go on as it always has. But ask yourself, is that the right path? Should people live in fear of the Wordness, generation after generation? Should they carry on, haunted by an incomprehensible threat? Or should they be allowed to embrace it, to become part of it, without fear? No, I want them to be more. My people may be close to the Wordness, but even we aren't immune to its more violent moods. What I want is for the people of Avalon to embrace the Wordness, and for it to embrace them in return. Arthur and his knights are the pillars of humanity in Avalon, and His Majesty's soul is unique, part human, part Four-Dweller. It's the best combination we could hope for, if we want to survive here. Releasing their souls into the Wordness would leave a permanent mark of humanity on this land. The Wordness wouldn't see us as intruders anymore, but as part of itself. Arthur and his knights worked tirelessly to make Avalon ours. This is their chance to finish what they started. Thank you. That's all I ask. And before you go, there's one last thing I'd like to do. I hereby welcome you as a full member of the Royal Geographers. May you carry the legacy of Iryu the Farstrider and Eleanor Dunn. May your paths be clear, your burdens light, and may Avalon remember your name. Farewell, traveler. I hope our paths cross again.
Meeting him made me reflect on one thing. How many great knights were swallowed by their ambition to sit at the round table. Somewhere along the way, things must have gone terribly wrong. If men could kill one another for something that was meant to be an honor, I pity the lost knights of this world. I'm glad this one will have a chance to fight at his king's side and serve me, as he always wished to.
Always good to have a little rest. Oi, friend. You went and made armor, based on the Armor's Almanac, didn't you? I should have warned you. That's a terrible idea. Those books are the biggest load of crap I've ever come across. And I've talked to Hrolf when he's had a few too many. Yeah, well, Alar is a fanatical follower of that Shadowblade. He's read a couple of those books, and suddenly he thinks he knows my trade better than I do after 40 years in the Forge. He even had the nerve to argue with me. Now, I told him I can hammer your face just as easily as this steel. Well, that shut him up quick. Arden Shitblade, you mean? Of course I don't respect him. That fool is ruining the reputation of every armorer out there. No one knows who he is or why his nonsense even gets published. But plenty of people would love to get their hands on him. I'd gladly get rid of him myself. You don't get it. Those books, they are dangerous. Think about it. Somebody reads that nonsense, makes armor, and then heads out into the world. What do you think will happen? They sure as hell won't become a Knight of the Round Table. First Grindelow they come across will punch right through that garbage armor. Exactly. That's why I think Arden needs to be stopped. Break his arms, so he can never hold a pen again. Well, if you could find him, knock some sense into his empty head, and cut off his hands, so he'd never write another book. I would cover you in gold. I've got no idea. Maybe Alar knows something. He's the biggest admirer of that charlatan I've ever met. He's been trying to share the wisdom of those books, but I chased him off and haven't seen him since. Thank you. You'll not only make this old smith happy, but the entire guild will be grateful.
Captain Brendan back? And with Dalriata? I suppose he has his reasons. Must be some strategy in it, right? Oh, right. The lamellar armour from the Armourer's Almanac. I remember. So how did it turn out? That's impossible. You must have made a mistake. I'm sure it wouldn't have turned out like that if you'd followed Arden's instructions properly. Depends. Why do you ask? Oh, that's my dream too. Would you take my copy of the first volume with you? Just in case you meet Shadowblade. Because I know where to find him. The Almanac isn't printed by Arden himself, but in Timberwall, based on his manuscripts. In the first editions, they accidentally included not only Arden's name and pen name, but also his place of residence. I paid a good sum to get a copy, but here it is. No problem. I'll lend you this copy. But don't forget to get it signed.
How can I help? Oh no. Are you one of those people obsessed with my son? I'm sorry, but we don't accept visitors. Goodbye. I'm sorry, but I don't share any information about Arden. I'd appreciate it if you left him alone. Dangerous? Those almanacs he writes about armor? Are we talking about the same books? Wait, I never thought. I mean, I knew Arden's books were out there, but I always figured they were just collecting dust in some forgotten corner. Who in their right mind would use those to make actual armor? By the gods, he's not an armorer. He's just a boy with his nose in a book. Now that you say it, I suppose I should have known. When those merchants from Timberwall came asking for more of Arden's work, I should have realized something was off. They weren't just interested in making a few copies. Oh, Mother, help me. I let it happen. I just wanted him to feel, I don't know, recognized. I never stopped to think how serious it might all become, that someone would actually try to make armor based on his advice. I should have thought of it then, should have seen the risk, but no. I just thought it'd be a little bit of coin, a bit of pride for Arden. Now look at the mess I've caused. Go inside. Speak with my son if you want. I'd be grateful if you could try to explain this to him. Safe travels.
My father let you in? He never lets anyone through. I don't get visitors. Ever. You must be important. What could you possibly want with me? The Knights of the Round Table. I used to read all about their adventures. and I'd always get stuck on the paths when they described armor. What type of steel was it? What kind of joints did it use? How did it move with the body? I needed to know how all the pieces fit together. Knights are impressive, yes, but what really caught my interest was how their armor worked. It's not just about charging into battle like people think. There's a logic to it. A system. I suppose the stories of adventure and heroism are part of it too. But armor. A knight can't fight if his armor doesn't fit exactly right. And there's something satisfying about that kind of precision. That doesn't make any sense to me. I just write about armor smithing. I mean, I know my books are out there, but they're not special. They're just descriptions, really. I don't see why anyone would care that much. That's surprising. It's not like I'm telling tales of great heroes or battles. I just write what I see, what I think about the craft. I don't understand why people would admire me for that. I'm not even a real armorer. It's not like I'm some master craftsman people should look up to. I thought I was making it clear how beautiful the process is. It's just how the words come out when I write. I didn't think it mattered all that much, as long as the ideas were clear. Dangerous? How could writing about armorsmithing be dangerous? I don't understand. I'm not telling anyone to go into battle with the things I make. I'm just documenting the process, the way I see it, the way I learn. It's no different than a chronicler writing about wars or knights. Their words don't cause harm. My books, they're meant to show how beautiful armorsmithing is. I love the craft, the intricacies, the details. Why should that be dangerous? But how could they follow it so blindly? I didn't tell them to make armor and go fight in it. I'm just explaining what I've done. It's like a puzzle. Figuring it out is part of the process. That's what I'm doing. How can people not see that? But that's not logical. I mean, I didn't explicitly say my work was finished or perfect, but isn't that obvious? It's just documentation of what I've done, my process. I thought people would understand it's still incomplete. I didn't think I had to warn them. It's not supposed to be a step-by-step guide. It's just what I've been experimenting with. I hear what you say, but it doesn't seem fair. I didn't want any of this. I didn't ask for people to treat my books like they're the law. I just wanted to share my ideas. If I stop now, then what was the point of everything I've done? Osbricht. Yes, I've heard of him. He's the one who developed the unique folding technique for battle hammers, right? His work is incredible. I've never thought about writing to him, though. I don't usually reach out to people. They tend to misunderstand me. And what if he doesn't reply? Or what if my ideas seem foolish to him? What if I say something wrong? Wait, you actually know Osbricht? You're friends with him? I didn't think... I mean, he's a legend. I've been studying his techniques for years, but the thought of actually getting to speak with him? I didn't think that was even possible. If you can get my letter to him, I could finally ask him about his folding methods, his process, everything. This is... I don't know what to say. It feels unreal. If Osbricht replies, if he reads my work, maybe I could really learn from him. This could change everything. Here's my letter. Thank you. If Osbricht responds, I'll let you know what he says. And, if you ever want to talk about armor or anything, I'll be here. I'm always here. I've seen illustrations of King Arthur in full armor. Honestly, it's nothing special.
So, did you find what you were looking for? He sure is. As skilled as any four-dweller, ambitious as a knight of the Round Table. Only shame is, he can't seem to leave that cursed basement. You can see for yourself, he doesn't handle, well, people too easily. Sometimes I wondered if I did something wrong. The boy never looks anyone in the eye. He only lives for those armors of his, and he'd eat nothing but that cursed fish soup if he could. But his mother, may the All-Mother shine upon her soul, she always said that's what makes him unique, and that it's our duty to love him as he is. So I love him, and I support him with all my heart, but I'd rather not think about what'll happen to him once I'm gone. Arden, in the service of the Horns of the South? I can't see it. Although, if they'd let him have a forge and a mentor, without making him fight or bond with others, who knows? That's something to think about. Thank you for caring this much. Please, don't return here, and don't tell anyone where Arden Shadowblade lives, for his safety and mine. You've brought a bit of light to him. Now take care as you go.
Oh, well, that changes things. I still think he shouldn't be writing about something as serious as armor smithing, but if he's just a kid, I guess I can cut him some slack. A letter? Yeah, fine. Give it to me. I'll read it. Arden. Well, Damn it. That kid seems really nice. I'll write back to him. I'll reply to all his letters. I feel foolish for ever wishing him ill. He's just a young guy fascinated by the craft. If I'd heard my teenage self rambling about blacksmithing, I'd smack myself over the head with a hammer. Thank you for finding him. Who knows? Maybe in a few years he'll grow into a really promising apprentice. Oh, on in. Thank.
sneaks up on me.
Don't let your guard down.
Oh!
Help a soul out on your journey.
Weird lanterns, you say? Of course, that sounds like Fabius. Always scheming. Always so subtle in his little power plays. It's obvious what he's really doing. Going behind my back to curry favor with the locals. He doesn't care about their crops or their lives. He just wants to be the hero of Cunacht. Mark my words, whatever he's promised you, there's more to it. Fabius doesn't lift a finger unless it serves his interests. I don't like it, but I'll tolerate it, for now. Just don't let him drag you too deep into his games. There's more at stake here than he'd have you believe. Doing something. Yes, something that serves him. The farmers might benefit in the short term, but mark my words, there's always a cost with Fabius. Just because he acts first doesn't make him the better man. I'll await your return.
Excellent. Here's your go. I'll await your return.
What do you want? You just made a serious mistake.
You'll regret crossing me.
Oh, you'll pay that!
Hey, you! Stop right there! Seems we have something you'll... In your face, you smart mouth!
Come on! Show me! Getting tired yet? got. I fought tougher than you. You better step it up. You getting tired yet?
Spare a coin for the hungry.
Gold, the true.
So tell me. So, you finally made it. Took you long enough. I hope you're ready, because this is it. The beginning of the end. Philosophically, not you specifically, but someone like you. Literally, yes, and I was getting quite bored with the wait. Ready to finish your journey, of course. You've come far, but every path ends somewhere. Yours ends here, in the heart of it all. This is the Charred Conclave, a graveyard for druids, burned alive as scapegoats for the Red Death. It's a reminder of what happens when people fear what they don't understand. They spoke out. They should have stayed silent, kept their herbs and potions, but they didn't. They believed their ancient knowledge, ugly and painful truths from times long past, could save Avalon from the plague. And maybe they were right. But people don't want the truth when it's covered in blood. Cruel rituals, sacrifices, hard choices in search of real results. They called it wisdom, knowledge gleaned from the weirdness itself. But to the people, everything they did was unnatural, costly, and frightening. The druids believed their results would justify the costs. They thought Avalon would see them as saviors. But the people didn't understand, and fear turned to fire. Well, the Red Church and their politicians made sure of that. The druids became a convenient enemy, a way to shift the blame and tighten their grip on power. It's always so simple, so banal, isn't it? Well, death doesn't always mean an ending. It was a sacrifice so costly, so cruel, so pointless, that it tore a rift in the fabric of this world. An ultimate wound. And so you're the closest you'll ever come to seeing the true shape of this world. To greet you, I was once where you are now. A knight with questions, searching for answers. That search led me to this place. And here I found my answers. Now it's your turn. Well, first, you're going to meet my former employer. We don't see eye to eye anymore, but we both realize that our collaboration yields results, as shown by you being here. He'll try to sugarcoat the hard truths I've been telling you from the beginning, spin them differently. Never mind. Why waste time here talking about it when you're just a step from the end? It's best if you just go forth and see for yourself. Just remember, this is the point of no return. Once you've stepped through, there's no going back. But if you've come this far, I suppose you already knew that. Go on. He's waiting for you. Go on.
I've heard much about you. Your choices, your determination. Caradoc isn't easily impressed, but he was impressed with you. Few dare to seek the truth buried in Avalon shadows. Fewer still make it this far. I was the first. Caradoc followed when my brethren burned and the tear opened. And now, here you are. A truly rare and joyful occasion. Oh, forgive my lack of manners. I am Orin, the last apprentice of Merlin, and the last archdruid of Avalon. I've carried the weight of this land's secrets longer than I care to admit. But names mean little. What matters is the task before us. What lingers here, it's older than Avalon. Older than anything we know. What you see is the beginning of weirdness itself. Its purest form, raw potential, unshaped by anything but its lack of boundaries and limits. Beautiful, isn't it? Oh, precisely the opposite of what Caradoc wants. I want you to help me resurrect King Arthur, properly this time. Ridiculous, I know. But yes, that's what it boils down to. At some point, we stopped seeing eye to eye and chose different paths. Ultimately, though, both our paths led to you. Yes, please let me explain. By the end of his life, Arthur became obsessed with his legacy. He left mementos, artifacts that embodied the virtues he wanted Avalon to preserve. Excalibur, a symbol of loyalty and sacrifice. The crown of Pendragon, a beacon of courage and resilience. The shield of Palamedes, wisdom and independence. But Merlin and the others didn't believe that would be enough. The memory of war and the fragility of peace was still too fresh. So they acted. When the king died, his soul wasn't allowed to move on. It was shattered, bound to those artifacts. A clever solution, but ultimately flawed. They feared losing what Arthur represented more than losing Arthur himself. They thought the king's essence would endure if bound to his relics. You can't pick and choose with a soul, but that's exactly what Merlin did. He focused on 3 parts of Arthur: his strength, wisdom, and courage. He left out 2 pieces. One, tainted by the Four Dwellers' magic, was deemed too dangerous. The other was his humanity, the most fragile part. Merlin thought compassion and doubt were weaknesses, unfit for a king. Without them, Arthur became hollow. A king with power, but no heart. That way, Avalon's greatest failure was born. I tried, and I found his humanity. It's here, bound, kept safe. But the Four Dwellers' aspects was left to drift, untethered between worlds. Finding it needed more than magic. It needed someone like you. The horrors you endured on that island gave you something no one else has. You can move through the weirdness, touch it, and return whole. That's why you found the king's soul, bound it to yourself, and came back. You flatter me. No, I couldn't have predicted all of that. I merely nudged the Red Church in the right direction and asked Caradoc to assist where I couldn't. I can see you're still doubting me. I want to bring back our king, whole and complete. I want him to lead again and safeguard Avalon's future. It won't. This time, Arthur will be whole. A king must be more than power. He must be human. That balance is what will save Avalon. Because I've seen what happens without him. Weirdness preys on the weak,
and the people are too divided to stand against it alone. Arthur is their only hope. Ever they're left without him, without guidance, chaos takes hold. Division festers. You've seen it during your journeys. If things continue this way, Avalon will tear itself apart long before weirdness finishes the job. They will follow him. That's what people do. When weirdness comes to their doorstep, they'll beg for a savior. And Arthur will answer the call. Help me bring the king back, whole and complete. That's all I ask of you. Now you need to go further. I made my case. Please keep in mind what I told you. This is the only way for Avalon to survive.
I was there when it all began, when Arthur first set foot on Avalon. I was a knight in his army. We believed in him, in his dream, in his kingdom. And for a while, it was glorious. Every battle felt like a step closer to peace. Every sacrifice justified by the dream we shared. But then came the cost. The war crimes, the impossible decisions, the massacres, slaughters, and irrational cruelty. We turned from knights into butchers, all because his dream demanded it of us. At first I told myself it was necessary, that it was the price of building something great. But the longer it went on, the harder it was to believe. That's when I realized Arthur wasn't a god, a savior, or a king. He was just another man, no different from the rest of us. And no man should have the power to demand such sacrifices. But do you understand why I want it so much? I'd like to believe that after 600 years I've moved past pettiness. You need to understand that people thought, and still think, that he was more than human. But he wasn't. He made mistakes, just like any man. And the cost of those mistakes was always paid for by others. I've seen what happens when people cling to kings and myths. They wait, they follow. They waste their lives on promises that never meant anything. But that's not my problem. I'm not here to fix Avalon or to free anyone. What comes after doesn't matter. Let it all burn. Let it rot. Let it rebuild. I won't be here to see it. Then let it. If this world can't stand without a dead king propping it up, maybe it deserves to fall. Arthur's the only myth that still holds weight. And when he's gone, The rest will rot with him. A puppet king, another empty throne, none of it will last. Maybe they'll keep pretending for a while, maybe they won't. Let them stand, let them fall. It's not my concern. If the weirdness takes them, so be it. At least it won't be another king's failure. Another lie propping up a dying world. It'll just be what it is. Call it chaos, call it freedom, I don't care. Let them rise, let them fall. Let them tear each other apart. I just want to watch it all come down. To see the last lie collapse under its own weight. What comes after? That's for the ones still standing to figure out. I've lived longer than any man should. Seen more than anyone should ever bear. And I've waited centuries for this moment, this chance, to end it all. To end him. Orin's a druid. That's what they do. They believe. They believe in myths, in symbols, and some of them believe in saving Avalon. I don't believe it's my decision to make. Not Orin's, not Arthur's, not mine. I've watched this cycle turn too many times. I have no stake in what comes after, only in making sure this nightmare finally ends. We were fools to tamper with forces we didn't understand. Resurrecting Arthur, infusing him with powers of the weirdness. We didn't just bend the natural laws, we shattered them. Such violations of nature's order cannot go unanswered. The bill comes due, sooner or later. Always. This cannot be allowed to continue. Listen, it's taken longer than I ever imagined, but now, here we are. You've done what no one else could, what even I couldn't do. You've brought Arthur's soul back together, almost complete, but not quite. And because of you, I can finally finish what I started centuries ago. So, thank you for bringing us to this moment. You're close now. Just one more step. The last fragment of Arthur's soul is waiting for you. Complete what you came here for. And then, we'll meet again. As allies, or as enemies. That's up to you. Go. Find the last piece, and let's end this. Whatever comes next, I'll be ready. I hope you will be too. Go. Find the last...
you've come. The one who carries what's left of me. Please, don't come any closer. Don't force me to think about coming back again. Just let me finally die. Because I've had enough. Enough of being torn apart and stitched back together. Enough of being used, shaped, and forced to be something I'm not. Do you know what it is like to be a king of nothing? To see the people you swore to protect suffer because of your choices? Or worse, in your name. I've seen towns burnt to the ground, families destroyed, all because someone thought it would serve the greater good. And they called it loyalty. They called it justice. I've been dragged through every dream, every lie they've built around me. And I'm tired. Tired of the weight, of the expectations, of all of it. And most of all, I'm tired of failing. I want release. I want to stop being a tool in their endless struggle. Kill me. Destroy the last piece of me and use the energy however you wish. Take it yourself and become the new king. Give it to someone else. I don't care. Just don't let me come back again. He thinks ending me will free Avalon. But what then? Without an idea, a light to guide them, they'll stumble, lose their way, and turn on each other. People always seek something to follow, something to believe in. Take that away, and they'll tear each other apart trying to find it. Or worse, build something even crueler in its place. Orin wants a king, not me. He doesn't see the broken man behind the myth. He sees a symbol, a weapon to wield against the weirdness. But symbols aren't people. They're empty. And the more they're used, the more they hollow out the one who carries them. That's all I've ever been to Orin and the Druids. Do you know what it's like to be a weapon? To be forged, sharpened, and thrown at every problem? Let me die. Not as Arthur, not as the king, just as a simple, normal human being. I don't care. Do you know how freeing that is, to finally not care what happens next? Whether Orin gets his king or Caradoc gets his ruin? To not feel the burden of all my failures? To not see my memory tarnished, my plans, goals, and ambitions dragged through the mud? To not see the suffering my name causes? No more deaths in my shadow. No more kingdoms built on my bones. Isn't that what you've been doing all along? Carrying what's left of him? You've already taken up the humanity I was meant to represent. Doesn't that prove Arthur doesn't need me anymore? Another way? There's always another way, isn't there? Another cycle, another resurrection, another lie to keep the world spinning. But please, not for me. Not anymore. I've had enough. I don't want another chance. I want this to be over. Do what you think is right. That's all I can tell you, because whatever you decide, it will finally be your choice, not mine, not theirs. And that's the only thing I've ever wanted. You hold the choice. I don't care who you side with, Orin, Caradoc, or no one at all. You have all of my soul. Use it. Take it for yourself, or give it to someone else. I don't even want to know. Do what you will with it. Just let me go. Let me finally rest. Let me die. Please. Let me go. Let me finally rest.
Help me bring the king back, whole and complete. That's all I ask of you. Now you need to go further. I made my case. Please keep in mind what I told you. This is the only way for Avalon to survive.
Go on. He's waiting for you.
Always a pleasure to see you. Let me go. Let me finally rest.
You carried a dying king across the bones of a dying world. Now you stand before what started it all. An idea. I am the reason there must be an ending. I do not guide. I do not judge. I exist so that something can be chosen. I do not offer meaning. I require that one be made. You have brought all things to their conclusion. Now, decide what must remain. Choose, and let the shape of the world follow. You will vanish into the story you chose to restore. You will break the frame, and what follows will not remember you. You will shape the world to become its witness. You will be seen. You will be followed. You will be blamed. Who do you have in mind? Then the idea shall be claimed, its shape worn, its burden made yours. But first, you have to bring silence to what refuses to be forgotten.
If this is what you want, then take it, my friend. But promise me you will learn from my mistakes.
No, I won't let this happen. Not again.
You think any other human could wield this power? I endured 600 years of pain, of suffering, of loneliness. I made the sacrifices, me! And now you think you can take it from me? The hubris. No. I reject your claim. I will reforge Avalon. Perfect this time.
You took Arthur's power for yourself. Whatever drove you, need, ambition, or will alone, the strength of a king was now yours to command. Maybe you weren't ready. Maybe nobody ever is. But you decided to try. It's a heavy thing, trying to do right where others have failed. Still, you stepped forward, carrying the soul and every choice that brought you here. You ruled not as Arthur reborn, but as yourself, flawed, resolute, untested. Avalon changed beneath your hand, and history will decide what that truly meant. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working side by side, the South found a peace it hadn't known in years. The roads stayed open, the fields were guarded, and the people finally felt safe. No longer bound to Camelot or the Knights of the Round Table, it became a land ruled by its own people on its own terms. Because of you, the men here remained and the Kuanact endured, not just as a place, but as a legacy of quiet defiance and hope. Lord Yvain was remembered as a hero who gathered the wise and set out in search of the Grail, while Kuanacht stood as a peaceful haven amid the weirdness. You awakened the giants, only to command their end, leaving no power behind for either side to claim. Without their strength, the balance held, but the divide between Camelot and the Dal Rita remained, wide, bitter, and far from settled. Firgas was named the new Galahad the Loyal. With One Eye and Brandon unable to rally the Dal Rita of the Forlorn Swords, the south remained divided. Firgas prepared Camelot's forces to reclaim the region by strength, determined to restore unity through conquest if necessary. The captain led the south to independence, breaking all ties with Camelot. Under his rule, the Horns of the South flourished. Merchants, pilgrims, and adventurers returned to the roads, and prosperity once again reached the far corners of the land. One Eye ruled the south with the Horns of the South at his side. The Dal Rita, the Forlorn Swords, remained divided, leaving the south strong but isolated. Without wider unity, his rule endured for a time. The future beyond his leadership remained uncertain. Nianta left Kuanacht with Yvain, and her fate remained unknown. Yet among the people she once served, tales of her devotion and courage endured, and her name was remembered with respect. Magat left Kuanacht alongside Yvain, surprising many who had long considered him harmless and weak. His fate remained unknown, but in time, the people spoke proudly of the last druid, claiming him as one of their own. Urfra left Kuanacht alongside Yvain, despite concerns about his age. His fate remained unknown, but the people admired him for finding purpose at the end of his life, and spoke of him with lasting respect. Fabius fled with Leal before the church could act. In hiding, they built a quiet life together, raising their child far from the reach of the Red Church. Ailey turned to the merchants for support, and for a time the hospital prospered. But when they began charging patients for care, she walked away and opened her own small practice, refusing to serve profit over healing. The Volker joined the rest of the Dal Rita without a matron and without Mathar's blessing. Even so, their warriors kept the ferocity they had once been famed for, tempered now by a clarity that left the other tribes uneasy. They were respected, but only barely. For what greater dishonor is there than turning one's back on the goddess who had made them what they were? Ingrid turned away from the eternal sleep, choosing life over dreams. In time, she began to rebuild the Thoid among the living, planting the first seeds of a new future for her scattered people. Under Stronar's leadership, the Ulfra found new strength. He rebuilt the tribe and reunited them with the rest of the Dal Rita, restoring their place among the tribes of the Forlorn Swords. With the Stagfather slain and the old bonds broken, Balaam led the Svine towards a new path. He opened the tribe to the other clans of the Dal Rita and guided them to settle in the Mather mines. He made a pact with the Four Dwellers, freeing them only once they agreed to leave behind their knowledge. One was lost to madness, but another fulfilled the promise, placing a stone woven with the song at the feet of the Stone Wardens. Through it, the craft survived into a new age. After returning to Camelot, Hillian lived quietly for a time. When he vanished, Few asked questions. Unsettling rumors had always followed him, and most preferred not to remember. O Queen Cinnamon Sage never forgot the bond he shared with you. Proud of the path you chose, he built a small shop near your grave, and in quiet moments, still spoke to you as he once did. A friend loyal beyond the bounds of life. The all-consuming Red Death. 600 years ago, King Arthur led the Great Escape from the homelands, where our kingdoms were ravaged by the plague. Leading people to Avalon, he started the Age of Conquest and took the island from the Four Dwellers. Using the mysterious powers of Menhirs, together with Merlin, they cleansed the land of the weirdness, a primordial force of chaos and possibility. But now, long after the death of the king, Camelot is in shambles as Avalon.
Rise and shine, rise and shine. Yes, it's me again. And I hope this time you'll cooperate without me needing to repeatedly hit you in the face, eh? Look, we just have to get this over and done with. Unless you want a visit from someone upstairs. And trust me, you don't. Just like before, no food until we're done here. And the moment you... So, tell me.
Yeah, you look like one of them. We'd pick... Big talk, as is evident.
Okay.
I've always found it puzzling that these people won't beg. There they are. I know, you've a million questions.
Stay alert.